Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download at www.audibletrial.com/comedy podcast network. Over 100,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player.
Everybody, and welcome to another Sports podcast. I am Joel Anderson.
I'm Jordan Pomaville.
And joining us, as always, is the one, the only sports outsider, Phil Ranta.
I'm guessing that's an announcer voice. I don't know because I don't watch sports. It sounds announcer-ish.
You can't see Phil shrugging his shoulders.
I was shrugging and reaching for the heavens for help, for a lifeline on this confusing
You've
premise.
gotten awful condescending since the Price is Right victory.
Yeah, I have. Started wearing this monocle.
Condescending.
Yeah. Me and my top hats that I wear now.
Yep.
I thought those were a good investment. I really did. More versatile than you think.
You spin $1 on the wheel, you start wearing top hats.
Oh, my.
Phil, do you have any specific Price is Right sports memories?
Spinning the wheel?
Okay.
And apparently Phil, he didn't just, my thought would have been just grab the wheel and let her rip. But
yeah. No, I was using precision.
We're still in Price is Right Afterglow mode, I think.
We are definitely still in Price is Right.
Because the motorcycle's in my parking lot right now. So.
Is it out there?
Oh, it's out there.
Oh my gosh! People were asking today at the football game, like, does Phil have his motorcycle yet? And I was like, I don't think
it doesn't have a license plate, and I don't have a license, but it's out in my parking lot.
Wow!
And it turns on. That's all I can do.
Tim Tebow update, watch update, alert.
Tim Tebow update, watch update, alert. Brought to you by
Mentos. Feel the rush in your mouth, alert.
CAA signs Tim Tebow for all off-field business. Subheadline, in a massive blunder, UTA signs Tim Tebow for all on-field business.
UTA.
Yikes.
CAA signs everybody.
Yeah. Previously, the William Morris Experience had represented Tim Tebow for his non-sports endeavors, which include endorsements, TV, movies, books, and bachelorette parties.
Non-sports endeavors? Is that another
The
crack?
Yeah, well, yeah, actually, we didn't have that. Yeah,
I would think the joke would be the bachelorette parties, because he is very Christian.
Yeah.
CAA Sports has actually negotiated all on-field deals for Tebow since 2012, so now holding all of his business, they're experiencing what nobody else will until Tim is married. They're all in on Tebow. CAA is examining ways in which Tebow can return to the NFL. They've stuck a kid in the mailroom with that one.
Because he's bad at football.
Yeah, and it will now seek out off-the-field opportunities as well. What off-the-field opportunities? Well, considering he won't likely be on an NFL field again, let's just call these regular opportunities.
Yeah, they're just opportunities.
How can he make money? Well, Tim Tebow published an autobiography in 2011, which critics derided for having dozens of footnotes on every page that just referred you to biblical passages.
Weird.
Yeah.
Seems like one footnote should have just been early in it, just like the rest from the Bible.
It was just like, and I got into University of Florida. 2. Where's 2? Oh, John 3:16 again?
Yeah, over and over. People love that passage.
But with CAA's experience packaging, why not Tim Tebow the movie?
I would watch it.
Okay, yeah.
No, that's a lie. I wouldn't watch it.
Yeah, I was going to say. I was thinking like Joyful Noise meets the garbage picking, field goal kicking Philadelphia phenomenon.
I was thinking like radio. Like they would just do radio again. Only they'd call him Tim Tebow instead of radio.
Well,
Oh, I thought you meant like doing radio spots, and I was thinking like, oh yeah, Tebow
Cuba
could do
Gooding
those.
Jr. he's mentally challenged in that movie.
He's mentally challenged, but he loves sports. So he's the opposite of me. Very smart. Don't care for sports.
There's that post Price is Right arrogance.
I'm
popping
very
out.
full
Oh
of
my
myself.
gosh.
He's just God. You guys don't even.
Now.
You don't see
And
him around
handsome.
the office.
Also, I think wearing the gloves inside is like those dinner gloves that you're wearing. I think it's a little weird.
Well, that's because I put lotion on the inside of the glove so it can really absorb into the skin.
It's just insufferable right now.
Tebow, though, really has, as I see it, 2 choices. Okay, he can either end ESPN's severe case of blue balls and join them as a college football analyst, or really give 100% of his attention to bachelorette parties.
Yeah. I would go to that bachelorette party. No, that's a lie, too. I wouldn't go there.
Yeah, that would not.
Tim Tebow, update, watch, update, alert.
Tim Tebow, update, watch, update, alert. Brought to you by
Manziel Rush in your mouth alert. Yeah.
Wow, that is, I think, the biggest enthusiasm gap between drops that we've ever gotten from Mentos.
Really?
That first one really just, I felt like it crawled in there, just dragged ass. And then the second one was like, pow.
Yeah.
You never know what you're getting with these drops.
You never know. You just hit the button on the box and something pops out. It's like a Jack in the Box that's possessed by the devil and different monsters pop out every time.
That's what I was going to say. Like
Right?
a Jack in the Box possessed by the devil, where different
Exactly.
monsters pop out.
That's a
every
metaphor that I think everyone's going to understand.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
What do we got on the show today?
Let's see. We have some verifiable true facts, don't we?
Yes, we do.
All right.
that's
Looking
gonna be
forward
exciting.
to those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
have
Phil, we got a weird sport.
You goddamn right we do.
Oh,
times
that's what
two.
we call it.
And I
Whoa.
believe Gene procured a guest from the Big Tobacco Lobby. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a guy from the Big Tobacco lobby.
What's his name?
His name?
Yeah, his
Gene's
name.
name or the guy who's coming
No,
on
the
there?
guy
No,
from
the
the
guy
Big
from the
Tobacco
Tobacco
Lobby.
Lobby.
Sam Throat.
Sam Throat.
Yep.
His last name is Throat.
And I believe, and I oddly enough, because that's odd to begin with,
Yeah.
but even made more odd by the fact that he'll be talking about chewing tobacco.
Through his throat. Yeah,
Right.
that's where the voice will come from.
You don't
from
hear
his
a lot of
throat.
chewing tobacco lobbying. I feel like the cigarettes they pushed back a little, but like tobacco, like the chaw,
Yeah.
Yeah.
they're letting that one die.
But I can't wait to pick his brain because a lot of sports used to be sponsored by tobacco.
Well, actually, you're going to be out getting. Or I'm sorry, you're going to be sending your servant to go buy you burritos.
Oh, I'm going to be taking a nap inside of my milk pool.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
Perfect.
Very unsettling image. Very unsettling
Yeah.
image.
But very comfortable. Wildly comfortable.
Are you going to take your gloves off for the bath in the milk pool?
No.
What is he, a savage? And we'll do news.
News on the Sports Podcast with Jordan, Joel, and Phil.
News. Texas A&M says goodbye to Johnny Football. Johnny Football responds by making fart noises with his mouth.
Ooh, like
Sources. Sorry. Yeah, do it. What a fart noise. Sources. Crowd loved the fart noises. Wanted more.
Yeah. Wait, what happened to Johnny Football?
Well, Texas A&M played their final home game of the season. They beat Mississippi State 51-14.
Yeah.
oh wow.
Threw 5 touchdown passes for
Johnny
Johnny
Manziel, yeah, redshirt sophomore whose maturity and feeling of entitlement are inversely proportional, is expected to declare for the NFL draft after the season. So the third largest crowd in Kyle Field history packed in to witness Johnny Football's likely last home game.
Oh, that's always a
And
sad
Joel,
time.
you were saying he rewarded them.
With 5 touchdown passes.
446 yards, 5. It's darn.
Darn.
5 darn. He also had 3 interceptions, which the crowd, to a man, described.
Isn't it interceptors?
No.
No,
Yeah, I
no,
don't know
it's
if
not.
you'd be excited. Well, if you
No.
were
Touchdowns are like, everyone shouting like, Terp derp.
like derp.
Yeah, but the crowd, to a man, described the interceptions as, quote, probably their fault. The crowd included luminaries such as former President George H.W. Bush, St. Louis Cardinal pitcher Michael Wacha, and Texas Governor Rick Perry, who aides say was getting very jealous of all the attention Manziel was getting for making fart noises with his mouth.
Yeah, he'd be good at. Well, both him and George W. Bush, I could imagine they would just trading it back and forth.
Well, yeah, they really, yeah.
Well, the thing is, Rick Perry, he was telling people after the game that he remembered all 3 of the interceptions that Johnny Manziel threw. And he rattled off the first 2, and then he just blanked in that third one.
That's a very
really-
specific joke.
But unlike before,
That's the Rick
when he-
Perry joke, right?
but before he had nothing to go to. This time
Yeah.
he went.
And that's awesome. That's a great. Whenever your brain shuts down, that's the way to go.
San Diego Chargers fan pleads guilty to throwing football. Subheadline: last year this would have been a Philip Rivers joke.
Yeah,
Hey,
he's doing okay this year.
You got thoughts on that, Phil?
I have no frame of reference. What about throwing a football? You shouldn't go to jail for throwing a football. It's just good
Oh,
fun.
hey, Philip Rivers. There's a funny name for you.
What? I don't know Philip Rivers.
He's a quarterback for the San Diego Chargers.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's like your name, but with like a body of water after it.
I that is exactly what it is. Yes.
It'd be
Joe.
like if I met someone named Joel Ocean,
yeah.
or if we met like a Jordan tributary.
I'm confused about what this.
I
bit
was
is
thinking
about.
Jordan Puddle. Like Jordan Puddle.
Oh, Jordan Puddle. You ain't never going to get out of the ghetto, Jordan Puddle.
You'll see. I don't know. I got nothing. I was gonna say you'll see. I'm gonna make a punk rock band, but I was doing it with a southern voice and it didn't work.
Yeah, I could see that.
There are punk bands in the South.
Yeah, but I don't know. Jordan Puddle. I was thinking like an inner city ghetto, and he's like gonna get out with his punk rock.
Yeah.
Jordan Puddle and like the galoshes.
Could be Atlanta, where the ghetto is.
Jesse Unger was tailgating outside Qualcomm Stadium before last month's San Diego Chargers Indianapolis Colts game in San Diego. As tailgaters are wont to do, Unger began tossing the football around with a friend when he was approached by police and told to stop as he was making Philip Rivers jealous. I'm just kidding. See, last year that'd be more of a joke. He was told to stop actually based on a rare rule prohibiting the launching of solid objects.
What?
Unger continued to throw the ball, believing the officer to be joking or not an officer at all and a male stripper having a little fun.
Makes sense.
Of course, Unger was then cited, which he was cool with. He was cited. He was given a citation until he went online and saw the fine was going to be $280.
What? That's stupid.
For throwing a football around
In the parking lot.
This is
tailgate.
America,
Right? Oh, this was America.
I thought it was America. Thanks,
Right.
Obama.
Obama personally writes ticket to football fan tossing ball. At
I don't like fun. Not even controlled fun during a football pregame.
Whereas my opponent. So he takes this to court. He's going to fight this in court because what the fuck?
Sure, of
Also,
course.
dude's like a graduate student with like a degree in mechanical engineering. This is not a
So
a dumb
clearly
guy.
he was safely throwing the
Yeah,
ball. He knew
yeah.
exactly where it was going to land.
So he goes to court, and the judge starts off by saying, now this is an interesting case. This is from the Union Tribune. And San Diego Municipal Code 59.0502 says pedestrians in Qualcomm Stadium parking lot can't, quote, intentionally throw, discharge, launch, or spill any solid object, parenthetical, including footballs, baseballs, frisbees, and other such devices.
Oh, you can't spill a baseball?
First of all,
And
I'm sorry.
parenthetical, or liquid substance, or otherwise cause subject or substance to be thrown, discharged, launched, spilled, or become airborne. End quote.
My favorite part of that is the number of different words they have for throwing it.
Yeah.
Because given that this is a law, like that means I think that there's a specific legal definition for each and every one of those. That, you know, like somebody came into court and said, I'm sorry, I was not throwing the football. I was launching the football.
Well, everyone knows, like in grammar, you don't throw a frisbee, you discharge a frisbee.
Right,
It's one of those
exactly.
English
Yeah.
language kind of weird
Yeah.
things.
Not everybody knows that, Jordan. A lot of people out there saying, let's go throw the frisbee around. And I'm like, let's go discharge the frisbee in each other's faces. Okay, that's how it goes.
That's a popular activity in colleges everywhere. It's apparently this mandate's also in place at LP Field in Tennessee, Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, and CenturyLink Field in Seattle.
This is unbelievable.
Unger said the judge told him if he pleaded guilty, he would suspend the fine. So the judge says, please guilty, I'll suspend the fine. He goes, I plead guilty to throwing a football, Your Honor. Unger said, resisting a strong urge to make a Philip Rivers joke. The judge,
Again?
Yeah. Yes, again.
Philip Rivers is a real jerk. Makes him just ripe for parody.
Sounds like it.
The judge then quickly dismissed the case and, according to Unger, used it as an opportunity to analyze the problems with the Chargers' offense. The judge's verdict, it's all in the running game. It's from the news article, by the way. This is an AP joke, not a Jordan joke.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, I'm excited for him to do that again so that we can see him come back in Unger games too.
There was an off-air high five just then.
Yep, there was.
I'm so disappointed in you, Phil.
Phil was quiet for most of that. I think he heard the name, immediately thought of that, and was like, all right, wait for your spot.
I'm going to
Wait
bank
for your
this. I'm
spot.
going to bank
Ready to
this.
snipe.
Chicago Blackhawks apologize for fan misconduct. Fan apologizes for stealing show. When Blackhawks hosted the Winnipeg Jets at the United Center, things got a little sudsy. In the third period, Jets defenseman Adam Party was checked by Blackhawks forward Brandon Bolig. It was a good forecheck, and the glass gave out,
Yikes.
falling onto the fans.
That'll happen.
Of course, God doesn't open a window without giving fans a chance to do something hilarious.
Nice.
As officials and players converged on the area, a fan pulled Party's helmet off his head,
Whoa.
The ESPN article notes that the unidentified fan was seen on television shortly thereafter wearing the helmet.
Nice.
Like a boss.
That's awesome.
Another unidentified fan was seen pouring beer on Party's head. To make matters worse, Party's stick, he lost his stick in the incident, as it was also taken by fans, though it was not caught on camera.
Those are like those fancy fiberglass sticks. This is a pretty
fucking
big deal.
expensive,
at this point.
yeah. And it was not caught on camera because, let's be real, the cameraman was focused on the drunk guy wearing a hockey helmet
Right?
like a boss.
Hilarious.
Well, it's one thing to take the helmet, to put it on right afterwards.
Yeah.
That's
great.
And I haven't seen it. I'm sure there's a GIF online, but in my head, it's funniest, so I almost don't want to see it.
Yeah.
It's just a guy with a goofy smile bobbing his head back and forth wearing a hockey
I imagine him
helmet.
doing the robot. Like, I think he's got the hockey mask on. He's doing the robot.
The Blackhawks apologized to the Winnipeg Jets and the NHL afterwards, per the NHL guidelines on politeness and being sorry. Now let's talk about the difference between Ron Artest and Canadians. Ron Artest and Steven Jackson went into the stands to start beating up people indiscriminately, whereas this was Adam Party's response.
I don't know what happened to my stick either. It got lost in the crowd somewhere, too. Just a little insult to injury, I guess. But it was a tough night for all of us. It was tough enough to get put through glass, but then to get beer thrown on my head too. It wasn't a good thing.
Describes beer getting thrown on his head as, quote, wasn't a good thing.
Yeah.
Presumably, he took his skate off and ran into the crowd and started stabbing people, right?
No. That was it.
That would be the proportional Ron Artest response.
Pretty much.
Yeah. I'm sorry, the meta world peace response.
Right. Well, then he was Ron Artest.
Yeah.
So, of course, Party would later say he was misquoted, claiming to have said sorry a total of 4 times in a statement to the reporter.
Wow, that's a lot of sorries.
And now it is time for another Weird Sport! Oh, it's a weird sport that we're about to do here, folks. It's quite weird, and it's a sport, and it's going to be a weird sport. Weird sport!
So if you haven't noticed yet, we're running down. We're doing the final countdown to 100 episodes and 100 Weird Sports, and Phil has graciously agreed to allow myself and Joel to do the intro to Weird Sports each once. And the reason being, we do it on our own off the air.
Yeah.
Because Phil does it so well, so we all do our impression of it.
But there was some discussion of this being an audition for a full-time...
No, you failed the audition.
What?
It was terrible.
I'm
so
good.
ashamed.
And like,
What?
It was so bad.
It's not like, and I feel like it was kind of like a cover song. Like this was your interpretation of,
Yeah.
and
But
now it's
like
time for
a
another
good
one.
cover
It was
song.
like I'm
Oh.
Bob Dylan and you're like a person taking a shit into a microphone.
No, I'm like Jimi Hendrix.
Taking a shit into a microphone.
I'll bet you if Jimi Hendrix shit into a microphone, it would sound awesome.
Well, we're doing 2 weird sports today. They're tied together by a theme.
What's the theme, Phil?
We'll see if you can guess the theme on the second one. The first weird sport, bikejoring.
I know the theme.
What is it?
Bikes.
No.
Damn it.
You guessed too early. Everybody gets one guess. Is that a rule?
Yep, that's it. Now Jordan's out. And whoever wins gets to go on a barbecue. No, that's not no. Bikejoring is a dog mushing activity related to...
Wait. There's multiple dog mushing activities?
That's what I was about to
Where you're
just list
squishing
off.
dogs
I thought
into a
it's
paste?
mush.
And
Mush.
Oh, mushing. Dog mushing.
Oh,
I think
that's-
mushing is a verb meaning to grind the bones
Yeah,
up.
that would
right?
be awful, Phil. That would
Yeah.
be. That would not be a weird sport. That'd be a
I
horrifying
apologize. Dog mushing.
sport. Thank you. Whew.
Which I also like. I call them mushed potatoes sometimes just for fun.
Yes,
So
but
that would
I've
also-
seen how you eat your potatoes, and it usually involves trying to get them to move across
Right,
the
exactly. I
table
take
faster.
a whip and I smack the potatoes
Yeah,
until
yeah.
they submit to my mouth. Dog mushing activity related to ski joring, caney cross, or dog scootering.
Yeah.
Dog scootering is the most recent modern one. It's for the kids, really.
Yeah, that's the hipster one. Where it's,
Is this? Do you just tie dogs to a bike? Is this what this is gonna be?
I'm getting there, Joel. Jeez, oh Pete.
I feel like Phil really hates it when I guess at what the sport's gonna be.
Yeah, well, you might have guessed wrong. It is a recreation sport where harnessed dogs or teams of dogs attached to a tow line have to pull and run ahead of a cyclist. Bikejoring is a non-snow season or dry land activity.
Oh, so it's like dog sledding or dog scootering, except they're hooked up to a bicycle and there's no snow.
Yes. Information! Although any breed, or non-breed, of dog can be used, American Pit Bulls, Siberian Huskies, Samoyeds, Malamutes, Alaskan Huskies, Sled Dogs, and Pointers are probably the most popular breeds for bikejoring. I don't like they put the word probably in a Wikipedia article.
I have done bikejoring. It was accidental. It involved my neighbor's Cocker Spaniel, a leash, and my bicycle, and then the sudden realization that it was not going to work. Because Coco the dog was not going to stop when I told her to.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so just pulled me right off the bike.
Really?
Is this one of those kid stories that ends with a trip to the ER?
No, it was not that bad. Scrapes, you know.
Oh, so it was a trip to sitting on the couch and watching ER?
Yes.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Exactly.
That makes sense. Although often practiced as a dog exercising recreation, in some parts of the world, dog sporting organizations and mushers provide bikejoring and dog scooter racing classes and at their competitive dryland sled dog rallies and events. These competitive bikejorer classes often run alongside other classes for canicross, or canicross, I guess, and dryland rig racing. There's a whole bunch of like whipping dog sports.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. Do they have a whip when you're on the bike? I feel like you have to have your hands on the handlebars, or
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. In all of the
It doesn't have to be a whip. They could shout encouraging things to the dogs.
Oh, there we go. There is a little whip. Yes.
Oh, I was really hoping that.
No, it doesn't look like. No, maybe that's not. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and say no.
Okay.
Because it seems like in all the pictures, the dogs are running real fast. Like all 4 of their legs are off the ground in the still shot. That's pretty impressive.
This is very impressive.
Yeah. You try to run with both your legs off the ground. You'll be skipping. You'll look like a little girl. You won't go that fast, Jordan. An easier and maybe safer alternative to bikejoring or dog scootering, especially for use in urban and built-up areas, ghettos, is to attach a dog to the side of a bicycle using a number of designed dog bicycle attachments. To me that sounds worse, because if the dog starts falling behind, if you don't see him ahead of you, you might be dragging a dog carcass.
Yeah. Well, this sounds a lot more like what Joel was doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
You're basically making a dog chariot.
And that comes to an end another Weird Sports! Oh, I bet you missed it the first time.
Verifiable true facts.
Like trivia, but not fun. Brought to you by
Ritz crackers. They're made of circles.
That's bizarre. They're circular crackers, I would say.
Yeah, they're not
made
of
circles. They're probably made
circle.
of flour.
I mean, yeah, circle's a shape. I don't know if you can make things out of it. It's sort of an abstract.
It's just butter and salt and
yeah.
Verifiable true facts, college basketball edition.
Woo!
All right, so here's some facts. College basketball's kicking off, Joel.
Oh yeah, Michigan State.
Number 2.
Yeah, number 2 handled McNeese State, which was a big game. McNeese State, one of the better college basketball programs in the country. McNeese.
Oh.
Phil, you got any thoughts on the AP Top 25 preseason?
I have no frame of reference.
All right, verifiable true facts. Number 1. The most common response ESPN college basketball analyst Digger Phelps gets upon introducing himself to people is, "Excuse me?" It's true. That's his name. Digger Phelps.
His name's Digger.
Yeah.
Demographic studies show that the average fan who refers to college basketball as, quote, college hoops has an @AOL email address and trouble connecting with his son.
Holding out of touch. I get that
Trouble
one.
connecting with his son. He calls it college hoops. For the 15th straight year, the NCAA rejected a proposal from the Wisconsin basketball team to extend the shot clock to a, quote, more reasonable 70 seconds. Said Coach Bo Ryan, who needs these 50-point games? Wisconsin plays very slow basketball.
That's what it sounds like.
I don't think we can explain all of these to Phil. They're just going to have to be good.
The NCAA has made 2 major rule changes, a crackdown on hand checks, long illegal in the NBA, and a more rigid interpretation of the block charge call. Many players are upset, especially in the Big Ten, where a full 15% of recruits were also offered hockey scholarships. That's true. Yeah, thank you. Phil is smiling and nodding, and I appreciate it.
Yeah,
I'm trying my self-esteem.
I'm trying to involve myself.
The look on Phil's face is really making these jokes, guys. If only we could show you.
University of Kentucky Regents rejected a joke proposal by head coach John Calipari to change the team name from the Wildcats to the First Rounders. They did affirm a real proposal by head coach John Calipari to pay his players from a tax shelter slush fund.
Yeah. Ready.
Verifiable
True
food
fake.
pun, John Calamari.
Long considered a soft science, bracketology has gained acceptance and is now offered as an actual college course by 5 major for-profit online universities.
Hey.
2 of which are run by Dean John Calipari. Hashtag athlete food puns, John Calamari.
Yeah.
Indiana State recently unveiled a bronze statue of Larry Bird. In response, Indiana University did nothing. Minnesota basketball will
Actually, really quick, do you know what they did with that? They intentionally made the statue
taller than
a little bit taller than the Magic Johnson statue.
Wow, that's awesome.
Which they can do because you know what? We have the ring. So
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, and that was Indiana State's only chance.
Yeah, pretty much.
Michigan State has since
We've been back. Yeah.
They've won again, and they've had other chances.
Once, yeah.
And lastly, Minnesota basketball will officially end the Tubby Smith era.
Oh.
He was their head coach, Tubby Smith. And while we will all mourn the loss of a coach with such a unique nickname, things look promising for their next head coach, Richard Sunken Eyes White Devil Pitino.
Hey, hashtag athlete food puns. Tubby Margarine Smith.
Verifiable true facts.
Like trivia, but not fun. Brought to you by
Ritz crackers, eat salt.
All right, glad to have here. Phil is tucked away into his milk bath. And we have here a representative of Philip Morris, now known as Altria, but Sam Throat.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here.
God, that is
You have a very throaty voice, Sam
Throaty
Throat.
voice. Is that a play on my last name?
Little
Sam
bit.
Throat.
Yeah,
A little bit. Well, you also do have a throaty voice.
I used to be a soprano.
Really?
I had when I was in my children's choir, I had a beautiful voice.
And when was that? Like 10, 15 years ago?
It was, I'm 23.
Yeah, you're surprisingly young for such a prominent position.
I'm a very likable person.
Right.
That's why. I'm
I'd
a
say
very good lobbyist. I'm good at dinners.
I'd say this was, it sounds like you're a heavy smoker, but you're not because you cover just specifically the chewing tobacco.
Just chewing tobacco.
Yeah.
Yep. But I do hang out with a lot of smokers, so a win for tobacco is a win for all of us.
Yeah,
Well, yeah,
absolutely.
right.
But I have to tell you, it's been tough going since I joined the scene. You know,
Why is that?
People are anti-tobacco everywhere. There's those truth ad campaigns that say that your lip's gonna rot out, and they show people with really gruff voices. It scares children.
That's
Yeah.
right. Those are actually made by Philip Morris, I believe.
Right.
The-
Well, they have to. They're getting their hand forced.
Right.
What do you think that the Coca-Cola would come out with a thing that says our 6-pack ring strangles dolphins and your kid's getting ADD from a product? Nope. No one's forced their
You're
hand.
right.
I have not seen those Coca-Cola commercials. You're
They're-
right.
Just wait.
Well, maybe
Wait
that's
until
next.
Barack Obama gets his hands on
All
you.
right,
Yeah,
all right. We don't
absolutely.
like to get political on this show.
He's just a man. I wasn't saying anything about Democrat or Republican.
all right. So,
Democrat.
but we wanted to talk about now, as you said, there's a lot of anti-tobacco sentiment, and probably one of the biggest sports that used to have tobacco in it was Major League Baseball.
Major League Baseball, yeah, that used to be our bread and butter. Kids would pretend they were Babe Ruth, and they'd stick that tobacco right in their lips. They'd have a
And
great
that
time
was
sucking
of
out the
course a
juices.
bad thing for children to be using chewing
they've
tobacco.
kind of gotten it out of the game, and in fact, Big League Chew was made by a couple of former big leaguers who wanted to give kids something they could put in their light chewing tobacco that would not be.
Yep,
Yeah.
get them prepared. Then as soon as they're old enough, they'll have the
No.
preparation. They'll
No, that was
understand.
not
That was the
Big
hope.
League
That's
Chew
not
is
the
great.
way.
It's like training wheels for a product that'll change your life for the better.
Okay.
But look, baseball's out. We're not even focused on baseball's not even cool anymore. We're looking at other sports. We're looking at cooler sports.
You're trying to make chewing tobacco cool.
We're making it cool to other sports so the kids will look at it and say
I'm
someday.
sorry. At what point in history was chewing tobacco arguably cool? I feel like it's
it was-
never been cool.
Oh yeah, farmers,
know,
really
baseball.
cool farmers. And
I mean, baseball up until the 70s, most players dipped, and I mean, baseball players were cool. Baseball was America's national pastime, probably up until the 80s. You know,
James Dean, he probably chewed tobacco because he was a wild motorcyclist.
I don't know that James Dean chewed
I
tobacco.
don't know about-
Probably did when he wasn't on camera.
But where are you going with other sports? I mean, football is the number one sport in America.
Oh, I'm looking even hipper and cooler.
What's hipper?
I want the first
He's
one
trying,
we're
he's
looking
trying
at
to
is
stay ahead of the curve. Everybody already knows about football. He's trying to find the next big sport.
Yeah, we're going after drift racing first.
Drift racing.
Yep, drift racing.
Don't they have the windows up when they drift race?
They do have the windows up. Well, that's why we have a little receptacle where you have to spit tobacco in order to turn the wheel. It's a hands-free wheel. There's a little straw that goes out of your mouth,
So
and
you
spit the
gotta
tobacco.
chew
and
really
turns it.
fast because if
Yeah.
you don't get enough
Oh.
juice in
Gotta
there,
get
you
enough
might-
fit. It's like a spittoon wheel. It's pretty great.
That sounds awful.
No,
Yeah.
because then it gets full of fluid, and then it makes the spinning dynamics easier.
It sounds like
to
a lot
skid
of
around
dead
the corner.
drift racers.
No,
Also, here's the thing
no,
about
they-
baseball: like, you don't have to chew tobacco in order to swing the bat. Like, it's not a requirement in baseball. It
They
never
were
was.
a lot better when they had tobacco.
I don't
They
know
were
if they
relaxed.
were.
They
I
were
don't
I
having
don't
great
know that
time.
I don't think there's any.
So
any
the
evidence
drift
of that.
racer, then the juices go into the steering wheel. The steering wheel's all see-through, and you see little brown fluid spinning
my
around.
God,
It's
that sounds-
great.
That sounds really
the kids
terrible.
are gonna love it. It's
I don't
like
know
a
that
little
they are,
game.
Sam. I really
I've been
don't.
on
I don't-
road
I'm
trips
gonna-
with people who are dipping, and they're spitting into like an empty clear water bottle. And that's
Yeah.
disgusting. It's absolutely
It's
disgusting.
pretty
How
gross.
how a wheel? That sounds insane.
No, it's I've so far I've pitched it to a fair amount of drift racers, and most of them are Japanese, and they nodded politely. So I assume that's a yes.
All right.
Oh,
well,
what else do you have on the table here? You have any other ideas? Because
Yeah,
I really am going to
absolutely.
be honest. I don't think the drift racing is going to work.
Well, in that case, be prepared to have your hair blown back because the next one is base jumping. Yep.
base jumping.
Base jumping, people get up on top of a bridge and they go down with authority and they jump right off, just like when you say down with authority and put some skull under your lip.
Now that's kind of like a bungee jumping, right? Or are they
They have little parachutes. They jump off a high place. They release their parachute and they land.
So what's the tie-in here with chewing tobacco?
Well, in this one, we started a meme. We started a meme
Oh.
online where one person base jumps and another one base jumps behind him, and one person spits out their wad of tobacco, and the other one tries to catch it with their mouth as it floats up.
That's awful.
Yep,
That's
they try to catch it.
I mean,
so awful.
I mean, maybe are these couples doing? Because maybe if they're a couple, like a couple will share a
disgusting.
dessert or
The
share ice cream.
world record right now is 9 times that they've been able to spin it, catch it, spin it,
How
catch
long
it.
were they in the air? When
Well,
they
it was
base
one after
jumped?
another. So
Oh.
it was 9 different people. They all jump a couple seconds after each other.
The
they spit it
tobacco
out,
is falling at approximately. I mean, it would fall like
Have
a
you
little
ever
bit
had
slower.
popcorn and throw it in the air and catch it with your mouth? It's a lot
Yeah,
of fun.
yeah.
right?
Oh, I love
it's
that.
a good time.
Yeah.
Imagine if it's coming at your face when you're in a free fall.
And
when you're going,
I don't think I'd want
And
anything
it
coming
gives
at
you
my face
a
when I'm in
nice
a free
buzz
fall.
of energy.
gives you a little buzz of energy.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got anything else here, Sim? Because I think that's also I think that's going to wind up with some dead base jumpers.
I've got a list of about 240. Do you want me to jump around? Or?
Yeah.
You know, yeah. How about
What's the
like,
next
This is my
best
full-time
idea?
job. Next best idea?
Yeah.
Well, be prepared to have your nuts fall out of your mouth. All right?
They're not in there.
Well, they're not in there yet, but they will when you get so excited that your nuts go up into your body into the back of your throat. Because the next sport we've got is frisbee golf. Frisbee golf.
it just happened right there. Okay,
Yeah.
I mean, so frisbee golf.
This
There you
one
go.
I can
Frisbee
see.
golf.
It's
Yeah, it makes
out.
a
You're
lot of sense,
leisurely.
right?
Well, because a lot of
Yeah.
golfers dip. Well, not a lot, but that is an activity where people do
Wait,
dip.
golfers dip?
Yeah. Not like
Really?
professional golfers.
Oh,
Because
right.
I'm just talking about like people who golf. Sometimes it's because you're outside, like baseball. You're
Yeah.
outside.
Yeah.
This is one that I
only
can
for
get
Different than
behind.
sitting in a car, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this one you know how you have different weights on your frisbee disc, so that you know which ones you're throwing far, which one you're
Wait,
going
really?
heavier.
Do they?
Oh, they do. Study.
You mean
before
discharge,
you
when
run
you're
it.
discharging
discharging
frisbees.
frisbee.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, we made the lightest one out of chewing tobacco, so that when you're finished with the entire thing, you just like brush off the grass and you put it in your mouth and enjoy a
A whole
celebratory
frisbee's worth of.
frisbee worth of.
So your frisbee is not I can't say edible, but it is made of tobacco that you just crumple up.
It's spittoonable. Yes,
Spittoonable
it's
frisbee.
A spittoonable frisbee. Yeah.
Finally, right?
Right? It's about time. And all of them, of course, are brought to you by your chewing tobacco lobby, so it's free. People get freebies.
Oh, a free frisbee.
Literally freebies because they're called frisbees.
Right, but I would hope that you're only giving this to people who are 18 and older playing frisbee golf.
Or just love frisbee. They're just people who want frisbees.
Well, right, but you don't want to. You can't.
But
be
for
giving it to kids.
for the kids and lawyers listening at home, you probably want to emphasize that it's an 18 and up thing, right?
Oh, I mean, I'm not the one actually distributing it. I'm just the lobbyist, so
Right.
you can't blame me.
Okay, well,
Look,
thanks.
I'm going to give you – I see you've hated this one, so I'm going to go after my absolute best one.
Okay.
Be prepared to have your ears start bleeding and scream in agony in the middle of the night after you hear this one.
Right.
All right, the last one, dog fighting.
What?
Kids love dog fighting.
No, they
Their
really
hero
don't.
Michael Vick.
Really don't.
Their
People
hero
think
Michael
dog
Vick
fight's
did it. The
awful.
dog.
Michael Vick's career was
Yep.
nearly ended because
Well,
of
what
what
we
he
do
did.
is get pit bulls really addicted to tobacco by putting it in their food. And then we put
One
wads of
thing that could
tobacco
make it worse.
inside of the mouths of the other dogs so that they try to chew out each other's tongues.
Oh, that's
Just
so
like their
awful,
heroes.
Sam.
Just
Sam, I
like
think
they're
it's-
heroes.
Just like their heroes Michael Vick and all the other
Sam,
ones.
I think it's probably time that you go.
I think this is the
Well, it's good because I got a lot of work. So
Yeah, listen, just
do
on-
I have your votes? I'm a lobbyist.
What
I'm
about
doing this
voting?
for votes.
No, absolutely not.
All right, I'm gonna assume that when it hits the legislator, wink, you're gonna vote.
Yeah. Just on your way out, I noticed you carry a spittoon with you.
Yep.
You'll notice a guy in a bath that looks like it's full of milk, but that's actually where we empty our spittoons.
Okay, that's.
So why don't you
That's
just
a
empty
good
it there
note.
and then head on out?
All right, we'll do. It's been a pleasure chatting with you guys.
Thank you, Sam
Yeah.
Throat of Philip Morris, now Altria.
Yeah.
And now it's time for another Weird Sports! Weird Sports.
That one was better. I actually enjoyed that
Oh.
one. I think Jordan wins the battle of the weird sport intro.
Well,
You're
you know-
just saying that because he did it more like you.
What
I feel like
mine was like Dylan doing Mr. Tambourine Band, which I believe it was done
Mr.
originally.
Tambourine Man.
Right, was originally done by the Byrds or something, right?
No, that was Dylan, and then
No,
the Birds covered it.
No, I thought it was. In any case, very similar sounding songs, I would say.
Yeah.
Yours was more like All Along the Watchtower to the Dylan All Along the
I really
Watchtower.
seized it and
Except
made it
his
my
version
own.
was terrible. So that's the difference in that analogy. This week's weird sport, Schutzhund.
I think dogs are going to be the common theme.
Joel is correct.
No.
Dogs are the common theme, yeah. Schutzhund is German for protection dog.
Yes!
It's a dog sport that was developed in Germany in the early 1900s as a breed suitability test for the German Shepherd dog. The test would determine if a dog displayed the appropriate traits and characteristics of a proper working German Shepherd dog. Today, it's a sport where many breeds other than German Shepherd dogs can compete, but it is a demanding test for any dog that only few can pass.
This is a dog sport, so like dogs compete in it.
Right. There's actually a series of traits that it tests for, including strong desire to work, courage, intelligence, trainability, strong bond to the handler, perseverance, and protective instinct.
So what I'm hearing is if you show up early with your dog duct taped to your leg, you've already won 2 of those.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like finding a good henchman. They should do this. All right, there are
You get a henchman that doesn't have good trainability, and it's just like, oh, God, come on.
Why did I hire this guy?
Well, there's actually different levels of Schutzhund titles that you can have.
How
for
exactly
how
you pronounce
good
that?
you
Is it
are.
Schutzhund?
Schutzhund.
Schutzhound?
Schutzhund.
Protection dog.
Schutzhound?
In English, it's
Schutzhund.
protection dog.
Yeah, we'll just
Okay,
call it
alright.
protection dog. You can be a Schutzhund level 1, a Schutzhund level 2, or a Schutzhund level 3. Schutzhund level 3 being the most advanced. You know what? I'm going to skip ahead because we don't have a ton of time to training. Schutzhund training, like the sport itself, have evolved over the years. The definitive description of the Schutzhund training from the first 50 years of the sport is Colonel Conrad Most's Dog Training, a Manual, published in 1910.
Why did this guy's dog training manual get so much press?
Because he was a colonel, Joel.
And he was the most?
Yeah, that's true. Conrad Most.
You want the host who's also the most?
By modern standards, Most's training is very harsh and possibly abusive. like all good dog training. Despite this, it is also structured, consistent, and in many ways conforms to more recent ideas on learning theory. Over time, the more brutal techniques fell out of use, and the trainers still follow most program, just without all the beatings.
Is it all of the trainers? A majority of the trainers?
A lot. It's
you
popular.
could say most of the trainers?
Oh, Joel, I hate you. In 1981, Helmut Reiser published Der Schutzhund. In the English translation, wasn't until 1999. What's the delay?
Let me guess. At first, not so many people used his manual, but he quickly it became used a lot more because he's a real riser.
I hate you. I hate you. It radically changed Schutzhund protection training. In the U.S., the next great change in Schutzhund's training was marked by the 1991 publication of Schutzhund Theory and Training Methods by Susan Barvig and Stuart Hillard. Also see Top Working Dogs, a Schutzhund's Training Manual by Dr. Dietmar Schleinenberg, which was published in 1982.
This entire segment has been a commercial for German dog training books.
Well, that's the only people who did
Brought to you by
Audible.com.
Yeah, get a free audiobook download. No, I'm not going to go into that. There's a bunch of Schutzhund shit. Yeah. Any questions?
Yeah. So, what sort of thing if Susan earlier, who wrote the book, she was going out drinking and she wanted to wear like a different haircut, what would she put in her head?
And that brings an end to another Weird Sports.
Citizens of Podcast Town, this brings to the close another Sports podcast. Before we go, a tobacco juice-soaked Phil will give you our contact information.
You can email us at sportspodcast@gmail.com. That's sportspodcast@gmail.com. I'm sticky. You can find us on Twitter by going to sports3podcast. That's at sports3podcast. You can find us on Facebook by searching sports podcast. Here, a little top bar thingy. You can find us on Stitcher Radio. Go to Stitcher.com today and download the Stitcher app and search sports podcast. I've got brown crap all over me. It's gross. You can find us on YouTube by going to youtube.com/comedypodnet. That's youtube.com/comedypodnet to find our episodes. While you're there, subscribe. You can find us on iTunes by searching sports3 space podcast. That's sports3 all one word space podcast. While you're there, rate and review. And for all of our back episodes, go to comedypodcastnetwork.com.
Oh, God damn it.
What?
Phil, your freaking intern got the burrito order wrong again.
Oh, I'm sorry.
This is why we send you out.
Oh.
You never screw the order up, Phil.
Well,
you were like freaking 90-something for 90-something.
That time has passed in my life now that I'm a Price is Right.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Lights off.
You have received this transmission from the Comedy Podcast Network. For more shows, visit comedypodcastnetwork.com.